All right. Well, it's a minute after 6:30. I'm going to call the order to meeting. Call the order to meeting. There's a bad sign. Let's call the meeting to order, the January 13th Manchester by the Sea Conservation Commission. Our chair, Steve Gang, is going to be absent tonight. My name's Henry Ottinger. I'm going to take us through our meeting. Um, we are operating under the auspices of the Wetlands Protection Act and Manchester's local bylaws to protect our water resources. This Zoom meeting is being recorded. It's up to you to decide whether you want your video on or off. Either is fine. If you need to use the chat function, please restrict that to technical questions and not substantive questions, because the chat is not recorded. All I can think of. I am going to call the roll, if I may. Dr. Turner,
Here.
Dr. Hayes,
Here.
Mr. Lumsden,
Here.
Mr. Hoffman,
Here.
and it's JB, possibly Jeff Bodmer Turner. I doubt that. It's probably not, right? Okay.
That's Jack Burke.
Oh, okay. Thank you. We are also joined by Bethany Barstow, who is our wonderful administrator. And with that, I think we will get to item number 1, which under public hearings is going to be a continued notice of intent for 44 Norwood Avenue. This is 0390937. And I think the applicant has requested continuance. Does that sound right to you, Bethany?
Yes.
All right, then I'm going to just I'll make that motion that we continue the case to February 3rd,
Third.
2026. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Gordon,
Aye.
Olga,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
The vice chair is an aye. That passes. That brings us to 0390943 Bridge Street, the Rossiters. Is someone here for that case?
Yes,
Hi,
I
my
think
name's
it's Sean.
Yep. I'm Sean McDonald, Griffin Engineering, on behalf of the rosters here.
Hi, Sean.
How you doing?
Good. Do you want to maybe share your
Share.
screen if you have something and just take us through a brief where we are?
Yeah. It says it's disabled right now, the screen
Oh,
sharing.
let me try to fix that. Sorry about that.
There's Mark.
There we go.
Try again.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. You guys see that?
Yep.
We can.
Okay, so I think this was in front of you early December. We're doing some patio improvement work in the back. That's what's in the jurisdiction here. We made some improvements since the last plan, mostly just the reduction in impervious area for the patio. We addressed some comments from DEP. They had a couple of questions. I think they were actually addressed at the last meeting. The comments were there before the previous meeting. So I think that's been addressed. It was just regarding the land subject to coastal storm flowage, the work in these two areas. So I think the only real changes since the previous plan were the reduction of the patio back here, and then we also added some sump pumps to our drainage system, just showing those on the plan. We also added a pump chamber for an exterior drain that's going in at the rear entrance of the building. There's a pump chamber going in here, and then pumping into our infiltration field. I think you guys had a site walk a couple weeks ago. Did you guys have any other comments about the plan?
I was not on that walk, but I think the other commissioners were. Does anybody have questions or comments?
I'm comfortable with this.
Yeah,
Gordon, David, Jim?
I'm comfortable with it. My only comments for those who weren't there, I guess the septic field that's going to go in the front of the house. There's probably a whole bunch of walls, and are there walls that need to be dug up? That's not in our jurisdiction, but it just seemed like there was very little space up there. But presumably you've got enough space for it. So, and then it did appear to me that the whole backyard area that is our jurisdiction just feels like it's all been artificially built up over the years, but they're not proposing any changes to that. It's a very flat lawn covering the current septic system. They're going to dig that out and fill it in. So it seems like it'll be an overall improvement to get that out of there. So.
it was a little unclear, as Jim Hoffman, unclear to me what the plantings are for that backyard field, if that's a highly manicured lawn or what is the plan there?
So I think this area here will be lawn. The green areas are going to have some plantings. I think I have the landscape plan shown here. Let me see if I can pull that up.
Yeah, I understand the shrubs and everything. I'm really
Yeah.
speaking to the area within in the flood zone.
So right now, that area is grass. There's a small planting bed right here, but this is sloping grass down to the wetland here, which is mostly Phragmites. You can see that there's some grass down in this corner here, but it's all existing lawn, and I think the intent is for it to be maintained as lawn going forward.
Okay.
I think in a previous case, we had seen the use of some drought tolerant and possibly even salt tolerant grass species, which might be beneficial closer to as that gets to riverfront or wetlands.
Yeah, I think I think it's been there for a long time, and it's there's no evidence of any erosion or any erosion. The grass is very thick and full, and it looks very healthy.
In terms of that slope, you guys aren't going to be doing a whole lot of work on that slope. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, we're staying off that. That's actually the top of Coastal Bank is up here. We're actually staying away from the bank. There's no work proposed anywhere past the top of bank. So,
But the areas where the existing septic fields are going to be pulled out, that's going to be completely changed over, and is the lawn there going to be something that has to be chemically treated, a lot, or is this more of a native lawn?
I think this area will be standard lawn. I think there are some areas up here where there'll be some less maintained grasses. I think the front yard, there's some ground cover grass going in here. This over here in this area, in this corner, there'll be some less maintained grass that requires less maintenance. And then even over here, I think this is just going to be left to pretty much be the same as it is now, reseeded with similar grass.
I did have a question that arose to me in my mind during the site visit, and that was pertaining to that. Is an irrigation system planned for this yard?
I think there's irrigation existing, and I'm almost certain it's proposed as well. I think that it will most likely be reinstalled, just because I know when they remove all this, the irrigation is going to be ripped to shreds, so they'll have to reinstall new irrigation.
Is this house is on town water?
It is, yeah.
We have seen other sites do some pretty innovative things using the runoff tanks as a source of irrigation water. Um, that hasn't been planned for here. I don't know if the applicants have any interest in that. It's of interest to us just because of water conservation for the town.
Yeah, we could certainly discuss it. Our system isn't necessarily set up to capture and detain water in that way. It's kind of going right into the infiltration bed here. But I suppose, we could bypass with some rain barrels if that was a goal. We could discuss it. I don't know.
It'd be a big change at this late
Yeah,
stage of the game.
right.
Okay.
Anything else from commissioners? Casper has an opinion on it, but it's not going to be part of our discussion. Great. I think or if we're ready to close the hearing.
Henry, does anybody else in the audience want to?
Oh, thank you, Olga.
Yeah.
Any comments from the public? You can raise a electronic hand or other. Seeing none, I'm going to assume.
Seeing anybody.
No, I do not either. Okay, in that case, I'll entertain.
And I'll move to close this hearing.
Very well. Second,
I'll second it.
Gordon seconds for 0390943. Great. We'll call a vote. Gordon,
Aye.
Olga,
Aye.
David. David, you might be muted. David says aye. Jim?
Aye.
And vice chair is an aye. So case closed.
Yeah, I have an order of conditions drafted that we'll review at the end with everything else.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Righty. Third item is continued notice of intent for 0390944 373 Summer Street. Is there someone here for 373 Summer?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for the record, John Judd, engineer with Gateway Consultants.
John.
Good evening. And if you'd like, I can share my screen if that's possible, Bethany, and I can.
You should
pull
have
up.
permission.
All right, thank you. All right, so the plan, we were in front of the board back in early December, and we at that time presented the project that shows the, let me just pull up the plan here. The proposed removal of two portions. Is this legible, members of the commission? Can you?
Small. I think if you get to an area of interest, maybe you can expand that a little, zoom in a little bit.
All right. Let's see if this is helpful here. Okay, so existing cottage. This is the second building on this property at 373 Summer Street. The initial project is over here on the left, closer to Summer Street. This is a cottage that the Parkman Johnson family owns. We did have a site visit on December 6th after our December 2nd public hearing, and the proposal was described at that time. I think Gordon, you were there. Steve was there, the chair, and we proposed the existing addition. This out portion of the building is to be removed and replaced with this 10 by 19 addition here. This is a small cottage back here, and the back portion, this addition right here, would be removed. It has no foundation, and that would be removed and replaced with this 18-foot by 16-foot addition here. So the expansion of the dwelling is fairly de minimis in terms of we have a 5-foot section here and then a fairly small 1 or 2 foot section here that would be is proposed to be expanded with the current construction standards, frost walls and so forth for a foundation to be properly constructed on both of these additions. The resource area is generally off-site to the bottom of the screen here, and the plan is to mitigate with 200% mitigation plantings. So we have a total increase of about 135 square feet between this section and this section, and we're looking to do native plantings along the buffer, along the wetland edge here within the buffer zone to enhance that buffer zone along that wetland. Erosion control is proposed along here. We're proposing a sock during construction period here. This is all, for the most part, lawn area as shown here. And that's really the extent of the project. I know Gordon was there and he may have some feedback, but that's really the extent of the project, is to reconstruct these two out portions of the existing cottage. Thank you.
Thank you. So it is a small increase in impervious, and it's offset by mitigation, which is great.
Yeah.
Gordon, any thoughts from the visit?
I mean, it seemed like it was a very needed renovation and fairly modest in increase. So I think Steve and I felt like it was fine. There is a note on the DEP website that the commission should consider requiring the establishment of a larger area of natural vegetation along the BVW boundary as allowed by section 10.53. I don't know how much larger means, if this is sufficient or if the commission has any thoughts on that. We chatted with the homeowner at the site visit, and she did seem quite open to plantings and keeping things natural there. So
Gordon, did you have a feel for what the DEP concern was? Was it because it was so close to the resource, or?
I don't know. That's the extent of what I see there. I don't know if Bethany has any other insights or, yeah.
Bethany, is it usually 1.5 times?
Yeah.
to
So you're
mitigate?
already
So
larger.
it's already at 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. There's like no further explanation that I see. It's just like that comment that Gordon can also see as well.
So
Yeah.
it seems like 2 is more than enough. 2 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree
It
with
is
you.
larger. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, John, you can always mention to the applicant that more is better when it comes to plantings, but we appreciate the 270 square feet.
Sure.
Other comments from the commission?
Oh, good.
Comments from the public? I don't see any raised hands at this time. Bethany, do you see anybody?
Nope.
No?
In that case, I'll move that we close 373 Summer Street, Mass DEP 039-0944.
Is there a
Sure.
second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Gordon. Okay, we'll roll call vote. Gordon?
Aye.
Olga?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
And vice chair is an aye. It's unanimous. Thank you, John.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too.
Appreciate it.
All right. Number 4 says, continued notice of intent for 0390942 Atwater Avenue. I have a feeling that Nate is here and
Mike DeRosa, DeRosa Environmental.
Mike as well. Hi, Mike.
So Nate and I are both here.
Alrighty.
I think since the last meeting, we've had a site walk at the site, and I think a lot of the group showed up. There were several questions that came up, which Brendan, the engineers, responded to. to an email from Bethany outlining the commission's concerns from the site walk. I can go through those if you want. I don't know if you've seen the responses.
I think maybe going through them would be helpful
Go
for
through them
them.
quick. Yeah, I
Please,
can do
Mike.
that. Yep. Let me just share my screen if that's okay. And
You should have permission.
there. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yep.
So this is Brendan Bobrek is the civil engineer working on the project, and he responded to the commission's questions. One was why locate the sidewalk on the north side? And the answer is that it's a much easier installation. It makes a lot more sense on that side. The other side would require much more earthwork and blasting of ledge. And grade changes too with the road. So it makes more sense from a cost perspective as well as a logistical and engineering perspective to do it on the north side. One of the issues the commission had was, could we do the sidewalk as porous pavement as sort of as a pilot project, if you will? And it really is an expensive installation, largely because you need, drainage material underneath, and there's a lot of maintenance to it. So the cost is extensive, and that's why this project's on a tight budget, and the safety of the sidewalk is paramount versus the porous pavement. And then guardrails will be replaced, and they're going to be put in. Wooden guardrails will be installed, and then also two more. Remember we saw the sand from the plowing over years and years and years built up up against the guardrails, and that will all be removed and appropriately disposed of when the new guardrails go in. They're not going to have any speed bumps. They're going to have pavement markings, which will, control speed and also warn drivers of bicycle lanes and things like that. So there'll be pavement markings, but that no three-dimensional kind of structures. And
I'll
we
just
can
add,
take
yeah,
questions.
for
Yeah.
a speed bump in that location, given all the construction traffic and just the type of traffic going to the businesses down there, I think that would be a lot of wear and tear on that road and the vehicles that go down it.
Yeah.
We're also looking at a speed feedback signs for that area as well to go, once everything's installed or construction's complete.
Yeah. Can you remind me, is the new guardrail going to be between the road and the sidewalk, or is it going to be on the outside of everything? Is it
The
going to
road and
protect
the sidewalk.
pedestrians
Yeah.
between the road and the side? Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
I wasn't on that site visit. Did anybody that's present tonight attend?
I was
Gordon
there.
was there.
Steve was
And
there.
David?
was there. Yeah.
Yes.
And so Steve was there too, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and he brought up some of these concerns.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about closing out or waiting to hear from Steve on those. Does anybody think that he's got stronger opinions or
The
Wait
at
to
least
close.
some of the questions, like the porous pavement was my question because I'm just curious about that, seeing that. So I think the answer is sufficient for me. It's a big cost for a large project like this. And I was also concerned about the sediment. So those two were my questions. I do kind of have a remaining concern just about, I know Nate, you provided me some data for the sodium level in the Lincoln Street well, which we know has been high for some time. and it's an odd thing, right? That it's not showing seasonal variation. You guys did a great job monitoring it very closely over time. It makes me wonder if there's like a large deposition of sodium somewhere that's kind of just leaching constantly. And then we saw this big buildup on the side of the road. Um, so I am curious about if there's anything practical we can do to limit sodium, deposition in that area. Back when I was on the Water Protection Task Force, we did talk to folks at the medical center up on the top of the hill there because they had a problem with high sodium in their water, and they switched to a non-sodium containing road treatment, and they saw pretty immediate improvements. But we have no data to prove that this is the source of the problem for the Lincoln Street well. So I don't want to put an undue burden on the town. But I do want to note that there's this great water resource right there on the side of the road that does feed into
Yeah.
our drinking water. And it's a long roadway and a long bordering there. So I'd just be curious, Nate, your thoughts on what's possible in this kind of region.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think it's hard to pin down where exactly, we are seeing the increase in sodium coming from. Some of it could be coming from 128. There are outfall or storm drains that do discharge to Sawmill Brook in that area. I think our first course would be to, if it's not already implemented, have a low salt area along that stretch. So, we aren't putting as much, down during our treatment process. That obviously has its drawbacks.
Safety.
Potentially,
Yeah.
especially a lot of the storms we've had this year haven't really been plow events. They've been more salt and
Right.
sanding.
Yeah.
So we could go to. It's kind of a trade-off. We could go to a more heavy sand mix in that area, but then you're dealing with that after the season and going on. Or we can kind of do both. We can do a little bit less salt, maybe a little more sand in that area
Yeah.
to help.
Do like a brine solution. I remember
We
reading
don't,
about-
we don't have any equipment that handles brine, unfortunately.
Yeah, I remember reading up on that, but like 23% salt, 77 water could be effective with
Hmm.
low sodium, but if you don't have any equipment for that, then never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
we
like
have-
beet solutions actually that I've read about that various places, I think in like, out west have implemented. But not sure on, operating costs for all that type of equipment setup. Generally much larger entities than Manchester.
And we're not equipped as a town to have certain roads that get alternative types of materials used as a treatment.
Not right now. We typically only stock. I think we use like what we call solar salt. So it's I mean, we can certainly look to that in future years.
Mhm.
We can look at the costing differences between those.
Yeah. Well, and we'll talk in a few minutes on another case about the Lincoln Street well itself. And we do know that there's some outfalls right around there as well from the school and things like that. And so that might be a place to start trying to change some flow patterns or reroute discharge south of the well, things like that, just to see if that has an impact.
Yeah, I know the school changed what they were using in the parking lot, I believe,
Okay.
after. So
Okay.
that seemed, maybe that was it. It kind of coincided a little bit, but
Yeah. Okay.
And Nate, do we ever use, does the town ever use any magnesium salts for the,
I don't
Same
believe
purpose.
so. Let me see if I can pull it up quick.
I feel like we've conditioned that for other properties, right? To not use soda, to use salt alternatives, but it's hard to do at a town.
Wide scale, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because once they load their trucks, it's like,
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know the routes well enough to know which truck is going to which area, and sometimes there's overlap. So that would we'd kind of have to look at the whole picture if we decided to do that. Yeah, yeah, I'm not finding it quick enough, but
Okay.
we
Okay.
can certainly continue the conversation offline, Gordon.
Yeah, thank you.
Alrighty. And Bethany, do you have any thoughts on whether it feels to me like we could close this tonight?
Yeah, I have a draft conditions for it, so
Okay.
we
But
can.
did you have any concerns that Steve had specific questions or would want to
No,
review
now that
that?
it was clarified that Gordon had most of the questions,
It was
then
Gordon.
I feel like it'll be okay.
I think
I
Steve had
feel it
it.
would be okay.
Yeah, Steve had the question about why that side of the street. It just felt
Yeah.
like if you could move it
Yeah.
further, but we have to defer to the engineering experts if it's much costlier and harder to put on the other side of the street. I think you'd
Yeah.
be satisfied with that answer. So
Okay. Other comments from commissioners? David?
As a member of the MAC and a frequent jogger down that road, I think the addition of the sidewalk will be a safety factor that will enhance the anticipated increased traffic and pedestrians along that road. So I'm in favor of this project.
Awesome. Are there comments from the public? I see no hands and no electronic or physical hands. Bethany, do you see anything? All right. Then I'll entertain a motion or make a motion to close out 0390942 Atwater Avenue,
So moved,
applicant Town of Manchester by the Sea.
so moved.
Seconded.
All righty. We'll take a roll call vote. Gordon?
aye.
Olga?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Vice Chair is an aye. It's unanimous.
Mhm.
Thanks, Nate. Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you all.
Thank you, everyone.
That brings us to an NOI Mass DEP 0390945 for 48 Central Street.
Mhm.
Proposed hardscape and landscape. Is there someone here for 48 Central?
For the record, Mike DeRosa, DeRosa Environmental. Also on the call is Leticia Oliveira, the civil engineer from Moore and Cameron Group that prepared the site plan. Matt Ehrlich is the landscape architect. And Richard Bedell is here, the owner of the property. I'll jump in and share my screen.
Yeah.
This is a site that should be familiar to everyone. I think this is our third filing on this property over the last, I think, 5-6 years.
Well familiar.
Yeah. So this is the existing view from the house, showing the pavement, granite curbing, the boardwalk, and the rope fencing, which I'll talk about. Essentially, the project has been vastly reduced. So there's no garage as part of this project at all. The only real structure is a pergola, a timber pergola, no roof, just a typical pergola, which will be down over the deck, the timber deck that's there now. We've reduced the impervious surfaces on the site. There's a proposed hardscape plan, which is down below, which we'll get into, and then a landscaping plan. I'll get into the details when I get to the plan, but I wanted to show you the plant list. So Matt has put together a native species plant list that includes red cedar, shadbush, and then a series of shrubs as well as herbaceous perennials. So these are all native. They're salt tolerant. That will all be incorporated into the planting plan for the landscaped elements. So this is the plan, and This is the existing house. The 100-foot buffer zone from Coastal Bank is here, so everything is within jurisdiction. We have the 30-foot no disturbance zone here in green, and then the 50-foot no build zone here. I'm going to go to the numbers first, because that really kind of tells the story. Essentially, we are reducing in the 0 to 30 and the 30 to 50 by a certain number of feet, and we're providing mitigation in the form of the native planting plan, but also we're turning this all into porous pavers with a detail that shows the porous paver section. So we'll have the 2 inches of bluestone, then a drainage aggregate, which is sort of like a rice stone that allows the water to go through, and then 8 inches of permeable gravel, and then number 57, which is coarse, and then a finer permeable gravel, and then to the base, the existing conditions. So there's lots of reservoir stone there to absorb the water through the proposed patio, which will be in this space here. I'll put on my pen so you can see it. So this is the patio area. The pergola is going to be set on these concrete piers. There'll be no roof, so the rain that comes down, any precipitation will just go down into that reservoir stone through the bluestone patio. And then this is these darker green is the planting area that we're proposing within those restrictive zones for mitigation. The we're trying a new thing tonight with it's a grass, like a turf grass that will be in this lighter yellow green color. It will have the porous stone underneath, so it'll be like porous pavers, but it will be like an AstroTurf. It's PFAS free. So we hunted around, we did some research on this. We know that PFAS is a big issue. I'm also a licensed site professional on LSP, so I run into this all the time in that aspect of our work. And so we were very sensitive to that issue. But going to the earlier discussions about water and irrigation on lawn areas, we initially had this as grass, which would have to be maintained. But if we go with a turf, I think it makes sense in this particular site. It's a small site. It's not going to get a lot of use. We don't have to maintain it. We're not going to need water or nutrients to keep it growing. We think it might be a solution for some of our water issues on our projects, and this is the first time we're using it, and we researched it pretty thoroughly to make sure we're not going to be introducing anything we shouldn't be. So we wanted to throw that out there as a mitigation element, but also as a sort of a novel idea in that regard. What else did I want to say? We are filling in the coastal floodplain, which is basically the walls, and we have sitting walls that we're proposing here as part of the landscape plan. But we're changing the grade so that we're actually creating storage in both the 30, 50, and the outer 100 by the regrading of this. So we're helping in that regard as well. So we're creating storage. What else? And then there is, going back to that fence, there's a cast iron fence behind the shed, and it switches over to this rope and post. And what we want to do, because of grandchildren's safety, is carry this over carry that same cast iron fence around so that there's a solid barrier between this drop off into the harbor. So those are the elements. We got some stepping stones here. I forgot to mention. Oh, and the other thing, this keeps coming back. So these AC pads and generator pads were installed by the prior owner when he was doing the housework. And so we're proposing these as part of this permit application as an after the fact activity, if you will. So it will bring this into compliance under this order of conditions if it's issued. So that's the overview. Matt, if you want to add to that, I think that hits the high spots, and we can take questions from the commission.
Great. Matt, do you have anything, or are we ready for questions?
Not really. I mean, I think Mike summed everything up great. I mean, basically, I think you've been to the site. It's basically just all paved at this point. So we're trying to really, he doesn't need to have the same need for parking. So we're just reducing it to a small area for parking and a back out. And then just trying to take the rest of that as landscape space. But I think Mike hit all the points.
All righty. I have a couple things. So I haven't seen very frequently no grouting used on bluestone pavers. And while I like everything that's 2 inches below for drainage, I think that those voids are going to fill with debris. And so I'm curious as to how you're going to keep those cleaned.
That's a good question. So Henry, I don't know if you've seen it, but in the last couple of years, they've introduced a product called nitro sand. It's actually really similar to like polymeric sand, which it's kind of like that's a sand with like a concrete component that's swept in the joints, then it kind of locks up. So they have a product called nitro sand now that's actually completely porous. So it sweeps into the joints and then it kind of locks up and actually looks just like regular sand, but water flows right through it. I could certainly find a spec sheet for you and shoot that over to you, tomorrow or later this week if you wanted to take a look at that. But we've been using it pretty frequently.
To see that for sure. That didn't make it into the plan at the time.
No, I don't think that is on this detail, but we would actually prefer to use that for the reasons you mentioned. Sometimes the chip stone in the joints gets a little bit of liquidity to it, and kind of migrates out of there. So that nitro sand's been a nice, really nice solution for that.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Matt. That sounds good. My second question is just what is the pergola material and on the top, and what's the spacing going to be?
We don't know yet. We haven't detailed the pergola, but it's going to be likely just white cedar. So it's going to be a natural wood. And then as far as spacing, we'll typically have like the joist be 12 inches on center and then a small lathing on top of that with maybe a 1 foot spacing, something like that.
Okay. That sounds good. And then lastly, I'm intrigued by the use of turf. I think that it could be kind of interesting as a portion of a hardscape. I don't know, Mike, that I entirely agree with your statement that it's a mitigation factor. It's adding to impervious. I don't know that it's mitigating.
No, it will be pervious. So it will be converted.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it adds to pervious. I got that. Okay. That's what you meant. And the applicant doesn't think any cars are going to end up backing over that, or there's enough space in the driveway for all turns, etc. Because I wouldn't want to see cars on top of the turf.
Yeah, we definitely don't want that either. I mean, this is laid out, so that's a pretty generous back out with a pretty broad turning radius. So it's all been sort of thought through from a vehicular standpoint.
Okay. All right, awesome. Commissioners.
I have a couple of questions. Is the grade any different for the patio than the way it is now?
It is basically the same. There's basically the property slopes from the house down to the seawall. at a pretty consistent just slope. It probably loses, what do you think, Mike, like 18 inches over that span?
Yeah, not very much. We're at elevation 10 up here, 9, 8. So it's
Yeah, so maybe 2 feet.
2 feet.
So Olga, we use so basically the patio is going to be obviously completely level, right? Or have a very slight pitch to it. And that's why you see those retaining wall blocks that kind of make that L and return. Those are going to allow us to kind of pick up that grade change.
Okay.
But the
And
rest of the pavement and lawn is just sloped up to the house.
It's about the
like it
same.
is.
This is elevation 8 here as a spot grade.
Okay. And that's what it is now.
That's what it is now, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And my other, I know nothing about this AstroTurf or whatever it is. What happens? Is it like a carpeting? What happens should ice flows in a storm come up into this area? Can it be lifted by a storm, or how is it anchored? I have not.
Matt,
That's a good
have you looked
question.
into that, Matt?
I haven't. We could certainly follow up with like a spec sheet on this too, and maybe a little bit more detail for you. But I actually don't have an answer for that. I don't know if it would be different. You know, turf would probably suffer some similar problems. I would imagine it's anchored in some fashion. I know traditionally they'll like sweep a bunch of sand into it to kind of weight it down as they go. Um, I've seen it installed, but usually it's like a putting green application, and it's super durable. I mean, you can walk over it and kids run on it, things like that.
Oh, I'm not concerned about that. I'm more concerned if there's a storm coming across from the harbor and there are ice flows that come across, whether it's liftable. It might be worthwhile having Alicia Gillen from Nero to give us some input about that for the commission.
Mm-hmm. It's a good idea.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alicia Galen would be good to talk about that. I also have, I can send this to Bethany too. I have the website which has a lot of information on it that I can send the link to Bethany and she can distribute it to everybody.
Of
Yep.
course.
Mike, when you do that, could you also send some technical information about this product? It
Yep.
may be PFAS free, but I'm concerned about the possibility of toxicity to with water runoff and to any marine animals that might be in the harbor area.
Yep. No, we looked at that and it is very, I don't have specifics in my head, but I'll get that information for sure because it's a very earth-friendly company, it seems like. So I'll get that information for sure.
It's just that it's in a rough neighborhood. I could see it as a putting green and
Yep. No, that's a good question,
There are no
Olga.
rough neighborhoods in Manchester by the sea.
I thought there were only rough neighborhoods in Manchester.
you like that, huh?
Jim or Gordon, you guys have anything?
Yeah, I'd like to know about the lighting plan, concern of mine with brightening the harbor and what is planned, and is there an increase in lighting?
I think there's nothing planned yet. If we did anything, it would be low voltage lighting, and it would probably just be path lights, down facing path lights, basically like small China hats. So definitely dark skies compliant. There won't be any light shining off the property.
Okay, thanks.
Gordon? You're muted, Gordon.
Thanks. Can you just confirm that's a gas line shown traversing down there to the fire pit? Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, there's a plan
Yes.
to put a fire table back there.
Okay. And then I know you talked about some grade changes. Are there any grade changes that would affect the driveway for the neighbors and things like that, or is it all going to be essentially the way it is now? I know part of that seems shared and connected there. I just want to make sure there's no plans to like.
Yeah, that grade for the driveway is exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no
All
change
the-
here.
Okay, so all the changes are down where the patio, the pavers
Yeah,
are.
it's the
Correct.
patio.
Okay, and then in your calculations for pervious area and things like that, I think Mike used the term pervious to describe the patio, the bluestone. And I just want to understand, are you counting that as pervious area in your calculations or impervious?
Letitia, are you on? Can you speak to that one?
Yes, I can. Good evening. For the record, I'm Leticia with the Morgan Cameron Group. And yes, the patio, it is included on the impervious calculations.
I'm sorry, I always
Pervious,
get
I'm
confused
sorry.
with pervious.
Pervious, yes.
Okay, and is the commission or can anybody, help me understand what are there requirements for the spacing between um, elements that would qualify it as pervious versus impervious? It feels to me like if you get them close enough, it's effectively impervious. But are there guidelines or
I
specifications
mean,
that would?
I'm aware of our own guidelines on
Yeah.
pervious pavers, which does talk about spacing and rice gravel as a grout.
Okay.
Bethany, are you aware of any other guidelines for spacing of pavers? You're muted now, Bethany,
Oh,
or you're
hello.
very low. There you go.
Sorry, I froze for a second. But I'm familiar with like Henry, like our guidelines since he mentioned them to me about the rice gravel as grout.
Yeah, and I mean there are flow tests,
Hmm.
Gordon, that can be done and that are very specific, like
Yeah.
taking plumber's putty and creating a circle of a certain diameter and then literally pouring
Mhm.
water into that.
Mhm.
And that can be tested and it can be monitored as well.
Yeah.
Um,
I just feel like if we're going to count it as pervious, we should have some performance standard that we'd like to achieve, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
if
I
I
mean,
could
the
jump
way the
in.
drawings are, it seems quite narrow, but
Yeah.
if the applicant is open to a wider gap to make it, we'd have to read up on this nitro sand also. I'm sure there's some.
I think what we can do is come up with a minimum spacing to the
Mhm.
bluestone that's going to
Yeah.
allow the use of the what was it called, Matt? The nitro
Nitro sand. Yeah,
yeah.
so to Mike's point, maybe we could do quarter or even half-inch joints,
Yeah.
just have slightly wider joints on it, if that was helpful.
Okay. Um, and then my last comment is, I appreciate the use of turf as a irrigation mitigation technique, but I don't love it in this site to put an artificial material there. And I can imagine a lot of options, natural options like some stones, or thinking of my relatives out west who have entire yards of stone and plantings and stuff like that. I think there can be some attractive options done. I guess I'm just curious if we can include as an alternative analysis some non-artificial options for that area, or even entertain it as a change to the plan if the applicant was willing to do that. It's just one person's opinion, though. I mean, the rest of the commission will have to.
No, I'm
Right.
struggling with this too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would think, I mean, an alternate would probably just be to do traditional turf grass, and just pick a drought tolerant variety. I mean, the client wants to use this for, his grandkids to be able to kind of run on. So I think like having any kind of rock or anything like that.
Okay.
To Olga's point, if there's a storm surge or something like that, it's certainly going to
Mhm.
carry off a bunch of small
That's true.
pebbles. So
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
okay.
So it
Any
sounds
other
like it'd be
commissioner
natural.
comments?
Well, if we do approve the artificial turf and it turns out not to work, I guess I don't want it to be kind of a precedent to using some further artificial. I mean, maybe he has to revert back to natural stone or gravel or seashells or something if they ever seek to replace it. I don't know if that's kosher.
Yeah, we could talk about that if we get to the conditioning,
Yeah.
have a conditioning conversation, we could revert to natural grass, I would say might be the first thing.
We should
Okay.
probably hear from the public, Henry, and then I don't know how you feel about closing, or if we would want to wait until Steve is back. In case
I'm going to comment
Yeah.
on that after we hear from the public. So I'm going to ask for public comment, and I'm going to ask you to keep your comments to about 2 minutes, and we'll see if we can fit everybody in. So the first hand I saw was Richard Mastronzi.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm Richard Mastronzi. My family owns the properties at 44 and 46 Central Street. We share a driveway with the property in question here. So we have obviously a lot to think about here. One of my first concerns is this area along, which is within the easement, as far as I know, but planting native species right along the property line. I'm all for native species. I'm all for that. But if this tenant is not, I mean, this person is not going to be here enough to take care of a lawn, I imagine these plants are going to go like rogue pretty quickly. At the point it is now, there's always a lot of weeds and whatnot that come from just his property that I generally have to take care of, which is whatever. That's one little thing. But a bigger concern I think I have is that this whole putting AstroTurf in, I mean, I have a large lawn in the back of my property. I mean, would it be okay if I just tore that up and save myself mowing the lawn? My lawn is basically the size of the backyard that we're talking about here. Could I just put AstroTurf in there? I mean, could we all just do it? I mean, what kind of precedent are we setting here? And I'm also very concerned about the fact that we have a consideration about where is snow going to go during the winter. I mean, we're talking about, can you walk on AstroTurf? Yeah, of course you can. Can kids run on it? Can you dump a 12-foot snowbank on it? Because that often happens in this condition where we have occasionally these winters where we have, 5-foot, 10-foot, 12-foot snowbanks. On top of that, we have, storm surges coming in. That entire backyard that we're looking at has been underwater with seawater. I mean, what is that going to do to these, artificial products that you're talking about putting in? I don't know what these things are you're talking about. They don't sound very natural to me. I don't know what they're going to do when you flood them with seawater. I don't know what they're going to do if you put a bunch of, snowbanks on top of them. So I'm concerned about that. And I'm just,
Okay, I think we got it, Richard. I'm going to move on to, we have some other folks as well. If I could. Lisa.
Hi,
Hi.
Martinez. I'm 50 Central Street. So I sent over some information. I don't know if everybody got a chance to look at it for some of my concerns. Were you able to look at that?
That arrived, I received that today. I glanced at it, but I can't say that all 5 of us or 6 of us have looked at it thoroughly. And so it was just a little bit of a time crunch.
Yep. So thank you. So basically, we're all for improving the property. My concern is that the scope of the pergola and all the gas going down through there and the electric, it's now asking to go through the pergola as well to the what would be considered that the wooden area right now. So it's basically a building without walls. So my question is, if this owner, put in prior NOIs and the prior owner, that's basically only a foot or two smaller than the footprint for the garage. So if you allow the pergola, what, is that now able to be built on? Is that, 5 years from now, 1 year from now, able to put a roof on, become a carport? So when you read some of the information that I said, so it's some of those concerns. I'm concerned with gas going down through there. It's all flooded. I sent our last notice from the prior plan and sent pictures of all of that underwater. So the pergola would not be on the current wood. It looks like from the plans it would be behind it. So it's the scope is much larger. And putting the parking space next to it has become sort of a parking area. And the question is how that becomes a garage or eventually. So it's sort of like what's being set, concrete and so forth. So that's my concern. And then
Okay.
also looking at the easement being granted for the AC and the units as well as the generators. The generators were put there and they're asking for forgiveness, not by this owner, but the prior owner. They're very noisy, extremely noisy. So I would request an analysis of that. And it's close to my property, and I would have to know if that's, within the 30 feet. I'm not sure of the zoning, as well as what kind of exhaust comes from that, and when it's flooded, how that affects with the gas. Anyway,
Okay,
it's
I'm gonna pause you right there, Lisa, because we have some other folks to get to.
on the sewer easement.
Thank you. Mike.
Yeah, hi, Mike Storella, Pine Street. Yeah, I guess, you look at this, it's all going on in the do not disturb zone, okay? And everybody buys a house sometimes where there's things on that kind of area where if you had to do it over again, that you probably wouldn't get approved for it, okay? Like rebuilding that shed. So I think you should look at this as an expansion of things in the no-build zone. And for everything Lisa mentioned, now it has gas and electricity, and it's over a sewer easement. The artificial turf, okay, would have to be ripped up, I would assume, as if somebody had to go dig there because the sewer pipe bursts, and they'd have to worry about a gas pipe. So, I mean, I think it's trying to stuff too much stuff in a small area. It doesn't improve anything other than, renovating that deck down there, which probably wouldn't be allowed if there was nothing on this whole spot of land right now in the do not disturb area. So I don't want to repeat what they've already repeated, but I think you really have to hard look. Don't set a precedent. Like the neighbor said, well, could I rip up all my, turf and put AstroTurf down there? And could I put another building down there? So again, I think it's just expansion of things we don't need to see. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Anyone else have comments?
Yeah, hi.
Richard.
Can you hear me?
Is that Richard?
Yes, that's Richard. I'm
Yes,
the owner.
we can hear you.
And yeah, a number of things. First of all, the entire no-build zone is built on. It's all pavement. No matter what we do, it's going to be a significant improvement. There's already power down to the shed on the dock. There's already power down to the dock and on the dock. And, currently, our neighbors use our driveway every day on our property, every day. And they take the snow and they put it on our property. So we have in those plans made it so that the plow can come down, go straight forward and dump it there, which is the shared easement. It's a perfect place for it. So I'm really having a difficult time trying to see what all these issues are when we're basically replacing pure pavement. I mean, I could just give up. I mean, this has been going on for many years and just leave the pavement.
I think, Henry, if there's no more comments, we can respond to some of these, or what would the commission like to do next?
Henry, you're
You're muted.
Zoom. What we're going to do is we're going to wait to receive some information from the applicant on some of the materials that we asked about. And for that reason, that's number one. Number two, I don't believe the commission has had sufficient time to review the materials that were sent in today.
Yeah.
So, and because the chair is absent tonight, I'm going to suggest that we continue to our February 3rd
Yes.
meeting. And that's what I would like to do. So do I hear a motion to continue? I will move we continue to February 3rd.
Henry, could I ask one other element that was kind of brought up and I would like kind of flushed out as they submit more information, which is some of this artificial grass. I don't know where it was originally designed to be used, but I think a good point was raised with what happens to that material when exposed to road salt, because that could hurt the lifespan of it.
Yep. We'll see if that's on any of the spec sheets that are sent over.
And Henry, if I could, since we are going to continue, some of the neighbors brought up some interesting points for me, specifically about the existing generator and things like that are being asked to be conditioned here. Those are in fact sitting on top of the easement. And I guess it could be helpful to have some alternatives presented for other locations for those. Since we're being asked to condition it after the fact, I think there's a lot of work going on back there. It's certainly within the realm of possibility that those could be recited. And it would be helpful for me, I guess, to understand that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, get those two, one from Jim and one from Gordon?
Yeah.
Okay.
The road salt impacts to the turf and then the find another location. It's really just the generator pad that's on the easement. The AC pad is outside the easement. So we'll look at that.
Okay, that'll be great.
Oh, and
Appreciate it.
also, Mike, we don't really have we need a little more information on this pergola.
Okay.
Yeah.
Design.
On the construction.
Design-wise.
Yeah.
Construction plans and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty basic, your basic pergola on a concrete support, but Matt can come up with something a little more isometric, sort of give a vision of what it looks like.
Yep.
Thank you. Great.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm moving to continue 039-0945 48 Central Street to February 3rd.
I'll second that.
Great. We'll do a roll call vote. Gordon?
Aye.
Olga?
Aye.
David? And Jim?
Aye.
And Vice Chair is an aye. Unanimous. We will see you in 3 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bethany,
Yes.
what's up? Did you have something?
I was just saying goodbye to everybody that presented.
That's very kind. Thank you for doing that. All right. That brings us to Mass DEP. No DEP number, 42 Lincoln Street.
They actually just got one.
Well, they
They
did.
messaged me because I reminded them. I'm like, it's DEP number 039-0946.
I guessed
Okay.
it correctly. Okay.
That
Yeah.
sounds good. Lincoln Street well treatment upgrades. And who is going to start us off?
Guess I can lead this one off. Hopefully, this one's a little less contentious than the last one. So we're here tonight for the Lincoln Street well upgrade project. Tonight we have our team from CDM Smith, who is the consulting engineer for the project. CDM has been involved on this looking at from the beginning, looking at PFAS, are both at the water treatment plant and at Lincoln Street Well. This is kind of the culmination of the studies we've done, which can all be found on our PFAS website. And this project will construct a building to remove PFAS from the drinking water at Lincoln Street Well to come into compliance with the EPA limit that will be come into compliance in 2028. So I guess with that, I can turn it over to CDM.
Thank you, Nate. Hi, everybody. My name is Nisa Seekamp. I'm with CDM Smith, wetland scientist. I have a brief PowerPoint presentation to share.
You should be
So
able
I
to share it. Yeah.
will share my screen. All right. Can everybody see that okay?
Nope.
No.
Not yet.
Try it again. How about now?
No.
There.
Oh, wait.
Coming.
It's loading.
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so thank you for the introduction, Nate. Also on the call with us, we have Michaela Bogosh, who's one of the project managers, and Aiden Murray, who's the landscape architect for the project. This is the Lincoln Street Well Treatment Upgrades Project. One second. So we're just going to go over the existing conditions, give you a little project overview, go over our environmental compliance with the Wetlands Protection Act and stormwater standards and the Manchester by the Sea bylaw regulations, go over some mitigation measures that we've implemented, a summary of our resource impacts, and then we can take some questions at the end. So our site is parcel 40-0-18. It's the Lincoln Street Well Pump Station site. It's at 42 Lincoln Street. It's about 12.25 acres. So if you can see my little pointer here, it's this big parcel right in the middle of the screen. But our project is on this southeasternmost corner of the site highlighted in red here. And we have an easement for this pump station site, which is confined in this area down here. It's approximately 29,150 square feet, so a small portion of this parcel. The Lincoln Street Well was constructed in 1958 and provides 40% of the town's drinking water. It's operated continuously during the summer and high demand periods, and currently treatment at the well is limited to chemical addition only. Sawmill Brook is a perennial stream which flows along the western boundary of the project area. So it flows from the north of our site down through Lincoln Street, which is this road this way, running this way. Adjacent land use includes the town water department and the Manchester Essex Regional High School. You can see part of that field is on the same parcel. And the Essex County Golf Club basically surrounds the other portions of the site. So for our existing conditions, you can see here the 200-foot riverfront area encompasses the entire project area. So our entire site is within that. This line here is our easement line. So we have to stay within this easement line for our proposed activities and our 100-foot buffer zone, our 50-foot no build zone, our 30-foot no disturb zone, and here is the top of bank of Sawmill Brook. There is a very small little bordering vegetated wetland, a small arm that borders the edge of the brook, on the northwestern side, I think, and a small isolated wetland pocket, which is non-jurisdictional over off on this side here. This crazy looking line here, this is our FEMA 100-year floodplain line, our bordering land subject to flooding. We're in zone A for this. So there was no base flood elevation provided. So this line was pulled from the FEMA Fermet website and put onto our plans. But it looks like it follows between 15 and 16 elevation. So when we did our calculations, we were extra conservative, and we calculated it based off of where we see this line here. You can also see the existing infrastructure on site. So this building here, this is the existing chemical feed building, which is going to stay. And this is the existing pump house on site. And then you can see the existing water line snakes through the parking lot. So a little bit of an overview on what we're doing here. PFAS are fluorinated organic chemicals that can harm human health. I'm sure all of you have heard of them. The PFAS levels at the Lincoln Street well are rising and are nearing the existing Massachusetts mass contaminant level of 20 parts per trillion. And they're currently above the EPA's mass contaminant level, and compliance is required by 2029. So to mitigate this, we've proposed some PFAS treatment at the well, including some upstream manganese removal, granular activated carbon adsorption, which are new treatment processes. And in addition, some minor chemical feed upgrades to the existing sodium hypochlorite system that is in place right now. And Michaela on the call, who's a lot smarter at this stuff than I am, I'm sure she can answer questions if you have any specific questions on PFAS treatment processes. So our new PFAS treatment facility is going to be replacing this existing pump house, which you can see here. And it needs to be a little bit larger to accommodate these extra treatment systems. And it's going to be in an L shape around this existing chemical feed building, which, like I said, is going to stay. And then here you can see our demolition, removals, erosion, and sediment control plan. I highlighted our wetland setbacks here, so hopefully that makes it a little bit easier for you guys to see. This is our stream bank in blue, 30-foot no disturb zone in orange, 50-foot in green, bordering land subject to flooding in this like teal blue color, our 100-foot buffer zone in purple, and our 200-foot riverfront extends off the plan, but just noting that it covers the entire project parcel. So all of these demolition removals shown on this plan are temporary, and they're associated with construction access. So here you can see we're putting down erosion and sediment control measures. So this is compost logs that'll be installed up gradient of the stream. We have a temporary riprap construction entrance. And we have removal of this asphalt pavement in the parking lot. And we are clearing and grubbing the existing vegetation on site. So this is a pollinator meadow, currently maintained as a pollinator meadow. We are clearing and grubbing it to use as a laydown area. And it will be restored to pre-existing conditions. And all back here is vegetation clearing as well for access to construction activities. We have to remove some of these drain lines and access some of these, move some of this equipment. So like the bollards, the hydrant has to be removed and relocated. The existing pump building here will be demolished so that the treatment building can be constructed. The generator and concrete pad will be removed, and a new generator will be put somewhere over here, which you'll see in the next plan.
And propane tank is going as well, Nissan?
Yes, I believe so.
We're going to convert
Yes,
to
remove-
to natural gas and bring natural gas into the site.
And then there's some removing and disposing of some of these vault structures as well. A couple trees, mature trees, have to be removed in order to access this. I'm going to hop to the next plan so you can see here. And this is our layout, materials, grading, and drainage plan, so it'll be a little bit easier for you to see what the building is going to look like. So everything that's highlighted in red is permanent impacts. So expansions of the pre-existing footprint or new proposed structures. So this is the treatment building that we're proposing. You can see it kind of takes that L shape around the existing chemical feed building. This section here, we're going to have a paved pathway for access. There was no other place to put this. It's really the necessary access point for equipment maintenance and operations access. So that's why we chose to put that there. So you can kind of get around this existing chemical feed building through this pathway here. This parking lot is getting repaved and regraded to the exact same grade that it was at before. And we are adding this gravel infiltration trench around this side of the parking lot for runoff of the parking lot. And I think it's crushed stone. Here we have a gatehouse or a gate controller. It'll swing across the parking lot. And it's on a small concrete pad with some fencing for privacy, and got some bollards. This is the hydrant, and this is the new generator with the concrete pad. So those are all of our impervious permanent impact areas. As you can see, everywhere else is going to remain within the existing developed footprint. So this parking lot is going to stay in the same footprint. These riprap pads are impervious, and the pollinator meadow garden is being restored and replanted with native species. And we had to remove some trees over here for access, so there is a planting plan to replace this buffer of natural native plantings, and also provide some screening from the golf course that's down below. We also have a subsurface infiltration tank for stormwater for the roof runoff from the building. And that's going to be tied into an existing outfall that drains into Sawmill Brook. So this is an existing 6-inch concrete asbestos pipe that drains into Sawmill Brook. So instead of replacing the pipe and disturbing the bank and disturbing the brook, we stuck a CCTV line down there and figured out that we could tie into that pipe up above and properly have our overflow from our subsurface infiltration tank. We also have a subsurface equalization tank over here where wash water and sanitary sewer lines will run from the building directly to. All right, on to wetlands protection compliance. So like I was just saying, there's no work proposed in Sawmill Brook or its bank. We're limited pretty much to existing developed and maintained areas. So we're returning the site to pre-existing conditions and improving it as much as we can. It is a limited project under the Mass Wetlands Protection Act for the proposed PFAS treatment and groundwater supply improvements. We do meet the limited project provisions and performance standards for work within riverfront and bordering land subject to flooding. For our riverfront alterations, we are below the 10% allowable threshold. And we're increasing from 8.45% to 9.22% post-construction, as you can see in our table here, where we calculated existing conditions and proposed conditions of our impervious area on site. So a very minimal net change overall, and still within that 10% allowable threshold. And like I was mentioning earlier, our work in bordering land subject to flooding, which is just that parking lot and the gravel infiltration trench around the outside. We designed it so that it's going to be exactly the same elevation that it is now. So we're matching pre-existing site grades, and we're not going to have any net loss of flood storage in that area. And we did an alternatives analysis. We identified that there really were no practical project alternatives that would result in less environmental impact. I think we can all agree that PFAS treatment is becoming a necessity these days. And so our only other options were to not build it, which isn't a very good option, do it off-site or construct it off-site, which was, I think, a logistical nightmare, trying to pump some of that water all the way off-site. And then our preferred alternative, which is to just use the site that we have at the Lincoln Street well and build a PFAS treatment facility there.
Was there any thought to digging deeper in the well? Is that an option?
No. I mean, that wouldn't mitigate the PFAS.
Okay.
Thank you, Nate. So we are in both the 50-foot no build and the 30-foot no disturb zone. We did try to move the building as far away from those buffers as we could. But we did end up with about 3,033 square feet of alteration within the 50-foot no build zone. That's temporary and permanent together. With a net gain of 23 square feet of pollinator meadow. So we were only able to achieve a 1.01 to 1 restoration ratio. We were basically able to replace in kind the native plantings and pollinator meadow habitat that we had disturbed in that area, with an additional 23 square feet, like wherever we could squeeze it in. And for the 30-foot no disturb zone, we had about 612 square feet of alteration. Again, that's temporary and permanent combined. And the net gain was 19 square feet of pollinator meadow. Again, trying to squeeze in as much as we can with the limited area that we have, at least just trying to replace in kind the disturbed areas. And that restoration ratio was 1.04 to 1. So because we weren't able to meet those Manchester by the Sea mitigation ratios, we would like to request a waiver to allow the necessary work here. We didn't really have any practical alternatives. There are easements kind of squishing our site really small. There's limited land availability in other parts of the site, and we're minimizing encroachment into other areas like existing lawn with mature trees that we just didn't want to disturb to plant more pollinator meadow garden. There really wasn't a lot of extra space to add to those mitigation ratios. So the least that we could do was restore both zones to pre-existing conditions as much as we can and try to include those extra little, 23 square feet and 19 square feet of plantings where we could. For stormwater standards, we were considered new development under the Mass Stormwater Management Standards because we did have that net impervious increase of around 4,295 square feet. But under the Manchester stormwater regulations, we qualified as redevelopment because we just have this increase in impervious area on what was already considered a developed site. Our design does meet the standards for discharges, peak attenuation, recharge, water quality, critical area protection to the maximum extent practicable. And we did have a stormwater report included with the NOI that goes over all of these things. The parking lot and driveway runoff is going to be treated via that gravel infiltration trench that I was talking about earlier. With that, gives us a 80% total suspended solids removal, and that the roof runoff from the building will be pre-treated in a proprietary particle separator, and then it's discharged to that subsurface infiltration system, which gives us a total of 90% total suspended solids removal. And then, like I was mentioning before, that subsurface infiltration system overflow is going to be tied into and discharged to that existing 6-inch asbestos pipe that along Sawmill Brook there. And then groundwater recharge is going to be maintained through the remaining impervious areas on site, or pervious, excuse me. And then we do have some details over here. So if you want the gravel infiltration trench here. So it is washed crushed stone. And this is the precast stormwater filtration unit detail. We don't anticipate any adverse impacts to wetland resource areas, and there are no direct impacts to Sawmill Brook Bank or BVW. And like I said before, we are limiting our work to just developed areas and minimizing as much as possible within the 30-foot and the 50-foot by pulling that building back. We have erosion and sediment controls, so those compost logs, which you can see the detail for here. Catch basin filters, temporary catch basin filters. A riprap construction entrance to prevent sediment from getting tracked all over the road during construction. And the mature trees, which we tried to salvage as many as we possibly can. We are putting a tree protection fence around them. And those will all be installed prior to construction and maintained through complete site stabilization and after construction commences. So some of those BMPs include soil stabilization, controlled dewatering if necessary, and some spill prevention measures. All removed trees that we need to remove for access reasons are going to be replaced with similar species. Some additional plantings for screening along the golf course. And post-construction restoration will return all of the disturbed areas to pre-existing grades with our native plantings, which will be monitored until establishment. And that planting plan will be, with the specs, will be shared before construction to the contractor. And then here's a overall summary of our resource area impacts here. So you can see the breakdown of temporary impact in each resource area versus our permanent impact. And I do want to note that between 100 feet and 200-foot riverfront area, that's included in our total 200-foot riverfront area impacts. And then if anybody has any questions or wants me to go back to any slides, I'd be happy to.
So I'm curious about one thing, so which is, I think I know the answer. Is there no space behind the current buildings, between the current buildings and the golf course space or county club property for doing any additional plantings?
So this is the easement line right here.
Yeah.
So we can't
And
go
is all
past
that, is the tank for the runoff, is that below ground or is part of that above ground?
That's below ground. So it's going to be restored to, right now it's lawn. It's going to be restored to existing lawn. I believe the elevation is going to be 3 feet above what it is now, but it's going to be restored to pervious lawn area. So that's why all of this has to be cleared, because we have to fit that subsurface infiltration tank in there, and then we need access to that existing outfall pipe. And then we really did on this side here, we tried to minimize clearing as much as we could. We pulled it back as much as we could. But if you see here, we need access for this subsurface equalization tank, which goes in here. And there are some water, sewer line, wash water, and I think sewer lines that are going to be underground from the building that go right through this area here, which is why we needed access and had to remove those trees. But you see, we did plant a pretty good buffer back right up to that easement line.
Yes. The tank I'm wondering about though is the one behind the building. If you drove in the lot and went through that one.
This one?
Yeah. If that's below grade, do you try not to plant over it, or can we put something over that would help with mitigation?
I don't see why we can't plant over that.
Nate?
Just thinking if there's any access, that would be my only concern. But if it's like pollinator, we could certainly do that. I wouldn't have any concerns with that. I think just from I don't think we'd want to do any types of trees or bushes. I think if we kept it to like a pollinator type, just from an access and O&M point of view.
Yeah, I'm just looking, as I'm sure many people have tried to find space here for mitigation. I understand you're highly constrained. We got it.
Yeah.
But so anything that's possible is beneficial.
The pollinator is better than lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is existing
less maintenance for us.
Yeah.
Right. The no-mow, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just something I'd like to see if it's possible. There's no downside. David's hand's up. David, what's up?
I have a couple questions. As a former resident downstream on Sawmill Brook, I experienced over my 30 years several severe floodings. This building's been here for a long time in this vicinity. Does anybody recall that area flooding in the past? Has the ground been flooded that side of Lincoln Street in the past? Has it covered that parking lot and those existing buildings in the past?
Yeah, from what we've heard back in, I think it's the 2006 storm, that the parking lot was covered and that water kind of got like halfway up the step into the chemical building. So, it sounds like we had about 6 inches of freeboard into the building. So I think that's the last time we've heard that there's been water in that area, on the grounds.
Okay, and so this will be actually a slight improvement with the new building, moved back slightly and higher? Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, I believe it's slightly higher, Michaela.
Yeah,
I
it's
believe
only
it's at
just
18.
Yeah, it's very close to the finished floor of the existing chemical building.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that was my first question. My second question uh, is as a voter. According to Google AI, there's 12,000 types of PFAS. 9 are specifically been shown, according to the Superfund studies, to cause cancer, development issues, and immune system health problems. Will this proposed system remove all 9 of those types of PFAS that are known to be hazardous to humans? Do you know?
Yeah,
Mila, did you want to speak to that?
sure. Yeah, the proposed treatment alternative for Lincoln Street well is granular activated carbon. And we've done bench scale testing on the type of carbon that we're going to propose to install in the vessels here. And we found that the carbon is able to remove PFAS down to non-detect levels for the compounds that are regulated by Massachusetts as well as at the federal level.
Okay.
David, I think
sorry.
I think the granulated activated carbon is fairly non-specific. It's going to take a lot of stuff out. So
okay,
it sounds like it'll be good.
How often does that have to be replaced, the carbon filters?
Yeah, we're estimating that around annually. We'll see, with operation. As I mentioned, the bench scale testing was done, which helped to inform the projected change out frequency. But right now, we're anticipating around annually that the carbon would have to be changed out.
Is there a disposal site for those?
That'll be handled through the granular activated carbon vendor. So those companies will take the carbon, reactivate it, and put it back into their lots or bring it back to the site. So around 20% of the carbon is lost through reactivation. So some portion is just lost and will need to be replenished to be brought back to the site. But the GAC vendors handle all reactivation and ultimate disposal.
Gordon?
My question was about the change out as well of that, and if I'm sure you guys have thought about this, but just to comment, is there enough room for all the trucks that need to get in and out of there or anything like that for that process?
Yeah, we've thought through, the turning radius required for the activated carbon vendors to come on site, which I don't. Aiden Murray's on the call, and I think he's looked into this a little bit more. But I don't think it's dramatically different than the chemical deliveries that are currently taking place at the Lincoln Street site.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's we already get full semi trucks in with some of the chemical deliveries that we have into the existing building. So within the same footprint. So I wouldn't anticipate any issues with that. Because they'll be coming in on similar, style trucks.
And are there any engineering controls that are special for making sure that those kind of chemical deliveries and things like that and removals are done safely? Is that all standard in terms of how this site is constructed?
Yeah, so there's physical interlocks, and then there's, so basically ports on the side of the building that go to each of the tanks. Which are capped and locked and labeled, for each specific chemical.
Okay.
So that, that's a pretty, standard for, operators and operating of the facility.
Okay.
Yeah, and that would never happen, Nate, unless there's an operator on site, right? Too. It's never
Right.
done.
Right.
Chemical vendor, yeah.
Yeah. There's anytime you receive chemicals or deliveries like that, there's an operator present.
Other comments from commissioners or questions?
Nope, I'm all set.
All right, any comments from the public? Or questions? I don't see any. Bethany, do you see any?
Nope.
All right. Well, do we have enough information to close the hearing?
I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
They have a number too, so you can.
Yes, now we can. All right, I'm going to move that we close the hearing for 42 Lincoln Street, 0390946.
Second,
Thank you, Olga. Gordon,
Aye.
Olga,
aye.
Jim,
Aye.
David,
Aye.
and Vice Chair's and I as well. That's unanimous. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to request for a certificate of compliance for DEP 3039918. Are there really just three numbers at the end of that, Bethany?
It's a 0, I think.
Yeah, it's supposed to
0918.
be like a 0918.
All righty, so it's 0390918, 11 Magnolia Avenue. I saw Gary's phone earlier, but I don't see it now. Is anyone here for 11 Oh, sorry, we're not on Gary. Yeah, we are. Is anyone here for
Yeah, we are.
11 Magnolia?
I think he was, but maybe he got disconnected
All right,
somehow.
we'll hold that, and if he jumps back on, we'll be able to hear it. Otherwise, we'll go to 9 Proctor Street, 0390920. Is anyone here for the Comparado residence?
Hi, everyone. Mike DeRosa, DeRosa Environmental. And I will share my screen. So as you know, this site is 9 Proctor. We're in construction. The house is being framed now, foundations in, all's been going well. Tree removal has happened. I think we're most of the way through the tree removal. We're lining up plantings for the spring, and there will be a lot of them. Part of the planting, so there's 2 things we're asking for, and we're asking for them as a de minimis change order to the existing order of conditions. We want to construct a planting berm to get some additional height, which I'll show you on the plan. And then we also just want to make a small change to the fence around the pool. And I'll just go to the plan is right here. So this is the site. I'm going to zoom in so you can see better. Everyone see that okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is 5 Proctor. And they have been very vocal with the Comparados regarding the construction of the house, the construction activities, the screening in particular. And part of what has happened since we got the order of conditions is the Comparados, and I'm neglecting to remember the abutter's name, but they've come up with this purple zone, which is basically a use easement. This abutter actually has some of their pool equipment on the Comparado property, and Comparados have been good neighbors and came up with a use easement for them. The neighbor in turn is not happy with we had plantings all in that use easement. And so what we're doing is we're moving things out of the use easement, and then to get better height, so that if you're looking at this in 3 dimensions, we can gain height to the plantings if we plant them on a berm and get better screening from the neighbor's side to the new house this way. These are all going to be hollies and white pines, which are all approved by the commission as part of the restoration plan, the mitigation plan. So we're asking that we just do this berm, which is, we're going to use the soil that's from the excavation of the foundation. We have a pile there that we can use to make this from. And then planting soil would be brought in, which was already approved under the order to plant the materials in. So that's one change. And then the other change is, I'll zoom in more, is the fence around the pool. So this is the pool area. We have a restoration meadow planting in here. The original location was the red line, and we'd like to just move it to the blue line and then keep the plantings all the same, gradings all the same, just move the fence so it's a little bit further from the deck. Be the same fence, just a little modification to that.
Mike, will that result in less area that's planted?
Nope,
That's
it'll be the
favored?
same. And I told them, I said, you got to keep the same planting plan because we need to have that square footage. And they're more than happy with that. They like that design, the meadow design there. So they're
Right, but what's going to be on the on the pool side of the fence? Is it lawn? Is it
no, that's going to be part of that planting plan, which is the shaded area. I can highlight it better.
all the right? But there's kind of a wider area. What I'm not getting something about this.
Yeah. So this is the planting area that was approved in orange. And then this area is lawn because we need to get access to the infiltration units here. And that was always lawn from the beginning.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at is now they're going to have a transition in the lawn from
Yeah, right there.
manicured probably to
Yeah.
native.
Yeah. And I suggested that you may want to do some monumentation here
Yeah, for sure.
just to make sure that that stays naturalized. And we can put some monuments within the, at the edge of the planting area so that they don't have to look at them. The plants will be growing up around them.
Mhm.
And they don't have to be too high, just so it's, the other thing we've used in other towns is, and I'm not going to remember the name of them, but they're survey markers that go underground, but they're locatable, obviously. They're permanent markers. So that's an option, but I'll
Yeah,
let
so
them
in
know
this
that we
case-
need to monument that.
Right.
Yeah.
My concern is the landscapers are going to go in and they're going to cut everything to the fence.
Yep.
They're not
Yep.
going to think about
That's
a
exactly what's
conservation line.
going to happen. Yep.
So
And what
we don't
we've
want
been
that.
doing, we actually have, I don't know if you can see it. Oh no, because of my thing here. But we have ecological restoration area markers, no cutting or mowing. So during establishment periods, we mark our planting plans. We actually put a fence. We would actually put a temporary fence while that meadow gets planted and then monument that. So then they can't even get to it to cut it.
Right.
Yeah, they've been our number one nemesis on restoration plans is the,
Yeah, no, I can just see it happening
100%.
naturally. Okay.
Mike,
All right. Is that it?
no,
Yeah, that's it.
how high is this berm?
Yeah.
It's not that high. I think let me see, I should know that.
Like 2-3 feet or 8 feet?
No, not 8 feet. It would be probably 4 feet. 4 to 5 feet. Enough to
Yeah.
get some elevation so that the plants on top are higher than planting them at the ground level.
No, I've been looking at this from across the harbor and I'm going like, yeah, you gotta do something with that. I can see why the neighbors might be a little upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the neighbors like the berm idea?
Yes, they do.
Do
And
they
these will be
understand it's
evergreen.
going
So
to
these
push
are going to
water
be,
back into their lot?
pardon?
Do you think that they are aware that's probably going to push water back onto their lot?
Everything's flowing down to the stream from here. Even this is higher, which I don't think it's gonna impact that in any way. Everything's going to the creek.
And is the easement, Mike, temporary or is it permanent? Is that
No, it's permanent. Yeah, it's
Really?
permanent use easement.
Could you go out to where the driveway connects to Proctor?
Yep.
So they don't really have any, so there's a bunch of dead pines out there, like 8 really tall dead pines that's their neighbors' trees. Have you noticed those?
This is 7 Proctor. 5 Proctor is the one that this is resolved or was determined for. Does that answer that question or no?
Well, I can see from here that it wouldn't, the trees I was wondering about are certainly not there, so
Yeah.
maybe there's 7.
Yeah, this is all going to get replanted with hollies and other stuff. And same over here. So this driveway is going to get well planted out. It's all outside jurisdiction, but
And they're gonna run
Right.
irrigation all the way out to the
I'm not sure how they're going to do that. That's a good question. I think for establishment, probably it'll be a temporary installation, which we're going to do actually for the forested area as well. Make
All
sure
right, so
it's established.
commissioners, I am, my opinion on this is moving the fence. I would consider a de minimis change. And I'm having trouble with the berm because I would like to see maybe even elevations and whether all the fill is from the foundation or is some being brought in. And I'd like to even have a letter from 5 Proctor in support of that. David, what were you going to say?
You know, one of the plantings, Henry and Mike, is white pine, which grows 2 to 3 feet per year.
Yep.
Why not plant taller white pines and
Oh, they're
avoid
going
necessity
in.
of them?
Yeah, white pines are going in.
So
Absolutely.
you purchase a white pine that's 4 feet taller and you can avoid the berm.
I don't have a problem.
What can I tell you, David? It's I think this is a good solution for 2 reasons. One, using the soil on site instead of carting it away. And 2, it creates this very visual barrier from the neighbor. So we're trying to work with the neighbor, we're trying to work with the design. It's been difficult. So hopefully the commission will see their way through to approving this.
I'm really good with that because I've been looking at this project and I was hoping something would happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Henry, if it wasn't a de minimis, what would it be? It would be a amendment. But I tend to agree with you, like a little more details on how much soil would be helpful, but
Yeah, just very broadly, Mike, is anything being brought in for it? Is it all from the foundation? Do you know?
All from the foundation.
Right. I don't know, Gordon. I'm trying to read between the lines. It seems like it's partly or mostly to placate the 5
Mhm.
Proctor folks.
Hmm.
I don't know. Bethany, do you have any thoughts on whether this is I mean, would it be an RDA for the for the berm? Is that an option?
It could be an option, but with like the soil being like located like on site and like a fence already being like kind of an exempt activity. Okay.
I think we could approve the fence
Fence isn't, yeah, I'm not
as
really
a de minimis,
questioning the
more
fence. I'm
questioning.
worried about the berm is a grading, a changing grade.
Right.
I don't know. Jim, you're muted.
I worry about the precedence of doing that.
We've struggled with these de minimis changes before. And I think if Steve were here, he might feel like this is not a de minimis, but I don't know. Um,
2 feet's de minimis.
Well, we did discuss this though, and it was back in early December, and then the holidays came, and my brain isn't keeping up.
Okay.
But Bethany, did we discuss it, you and I and Steve, before we did the de minimis route? Do you remember? I don't.
It's just
And I
two
confess,
towns. My brain is focused on 1 week at a time, usually.
I know.
I mean, I guess I also would like to something from the neighbor that they approve as well. It would be not that I'm accusing you of misrepresenting Mike, but it would
No,
taking your
but I
word for
mean,
it right now, it's a pretty big
my question with that though,
yeah.
Gordon, is it
It's not their
seems to
property.
go a little bit beyond,
Yeah.
not to push too hard, but
Yeah, I see what
you
you're saying.
know, yeah, and we're trying not to engage with
Yeah.
these guys very much.
Yeah. Okay.
Could you say where the berm, could you just draw a line where the berm is? Is it the entire length there?
Yeah, so the top of the berm, let me see if I can do this. Top of the berm, if I take the top of those contours, comes to there.
Like 50 feet or something?
Yeah.
And so the rest of it down below, is that berming too?
No, this just blends in. So these are the grades that just blend in to the existing grade.
I think Olga's referring to the second line that you drew towards the bottom
Yeah.
of the page. Is that
Oh, this
also
one.
being built up?
Yeah, hold on. Oops. I hate when I do that. Yeah, and then there's a little bit here too, you're right. So you can see where this is a little higher.
Mhm.
Mike, timing wise, is 3 weeks going to throw anything off?
Well, so they'd like to do it as soon as possible. The trees are gone, the site's ready to be done. And then I guess the hollies have to be harvested early in the spring. So they're talking almost February. So they can be transplanted in a dormant state. So there is a bit of timing here.
All right, the best I can do. So I'm not comfortable voting the berm for de minimis change for proving that tonight. Happy to do the fence if that's going to help your project.
Yeah.
But potentially we'll find out. Maybe Bethany and I can get together with Steve and we can get you an answer in a week.
Okay, that would be great.
I don't think that's a problem. Does that seem kosher, Bethany? Wait, you're muted.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
So I remember like talking to Steve about this project in like early December,
Yeah.
but I can't.
I mean, we can wait and have you guys talk to Steve.
Yeah.
I wasn't on at the beginning of the meeting. Is he away for?
Just tonight.
Oh,
That's tonight.
So-
Yes.
So he's around.
He's
I'm just not
I'm happy
comfortable
to-
doing it.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy to wait for that. And then if it's a de minimis, if he allows it to go as a de minimis thing, then I think Bethany can just issue the letter for both things, right? Yeah, so that
think-
would be great.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
If we could
So-
see an elevation with the berm and without it, that would really help, like seeing is.
Yeah,
I
for
can
sure.
see if Stimson can do that quickly. Yeah. Okay.
That would help a lot, Mike.
All right. I will do that. I'll send an email tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
comfortable
thank you
with that.
guys. Yeah, I
Alrighty.
appreciate
So
it.
there's no vote required for 9 Proctor. Is that correct, Bethany? All right. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, everyone.
See ya.
Good night. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Okay. I think we're on to orders of conditions. Bethany, what have we closed?
Hold on. Okay, Gary's not here, so we're gonna just have to continue that discussion until.
Right. Do we need to vote to continue or do we?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to move. Let me find it. I'll move to continue 0390918 11 Magnolia Ave to February 3rd meeting.
Second,
Second,
Thank you. All in favor. Gordon,
Yes.
David,
yes.
Olga,
yes.
Jim,
Yep.
and vice chair is yes. Unanimous. All right, so I'm showing is 146 Bridge our first.
I have
And-
a million tabs open.
You what?
Yes.
I
one-
have a
Speak up.
million tabs open.
Oh, sorry.
But okay, let me.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yes, it's a basic one that I filled out.
Okay.
It's all like set really. But if there any special conditions you guys want to add, the special conditions I have on here relate to mitigation plantings because that's what it has on
Mhm.
sorry. That's what it has on the site with like at least a 75% survivorship, cover debris in case of a storm. Blasting is usually for harbor related things.
Mhm.
But if anyone wants to add anything, let me know.
The
now.
survivorship is that a two year?
Yes, 2 growing seasons.
I think that's fine.
About herbicides and stuff like that.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
those are usually on the end
Oh,
of each project of like perpetual
they're there.
conditions.
okay,
They're always covered.
Okay.
Always.
good job.
Well, I see de-icing, but I don't see, pesticides, herbicides, perfect.
Should we think about some monumenting at this site so it's clear where that's to stop?
For that, the
For the
100-foot
pesticide.
line.
Yeah, for the pesticide. Like what do we yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that we typically have, but I think it's a reasonable idea. Olga, you've seen the most cases here. What do you think of that?
The
Have we ever?
mighties are kind of aligned.
Yeah.
They're aligned, but I guess I'm wondering like what is our border here? Like what are we calling the resource area? Is it the buff? It's not the buffer zone.
Most of the back area.
kind of
beyond
felt
the,
like a
around the
natural,
patio.
like, I feel like when I went out there, it felt like a natural, like, separation almost.
I'm just wondering, are they going to interpret that to mean we can still use these herbicides all over the yard? Or is there some border and buffer that
Oh.
we're asking for? It's just unclear to me the way that's worded.
I think I read it as, yes, you could use it anywhere outside of 100 foot of the resource area.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Then mark where the 100 is, because it's all gonna look like one big lawn.
Yeah.
Your point, Gordon.
And I think I'm
I
just
don't
trying to,
remember the plan. Is there
I'd have to pull up the
kind
plan
of
for that.
confusing border where somebody might,
Yeah.
that's, I don't have the plan.
Here's 48 Central. Yeah. Oh no, wait, that's the wrong one. Sorry.
Gordon, are you going to pull that up and share your screen
I'm
for
too
us?
slow. Yeah. Sorry.
Be kind.
But I'll find it. Yeah. 140.
All right. Bethany, let's just make a note then to potentially monumenting of the 100-foot. Oh, I know what you're asking now, Gordon. Do you mark the 100-foot or do you mark the? Well, we can't really mark where it's coming from because that's in the resource area.
Yeah. I mean, I would mark the border where you don't want the pesticides, just so it's clear.
Right. So it's at the 100-foot line. So Bethany, maybe just make a note to yourself that we may request
Monumenting?
monumenting at the 100-foot buffer line.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, that's pretty straightforward, I think.
Well, there's this
Coastal
this
Bank
line up here. Is that's
from
100
Coastal
foot from the
Bank.
coastal bank. So that would basically rule out pesticides and herbicides
In the back of the property.
in the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what we want?
Yep.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Right. It just, well, we have to make it clear it's not 100-foot from riverfront. It's 100-foot from coastal bank.
Okay. Yeah, let's just make that clear then. Yeah.
Okay. So Bethany, we're going to add a condition for monumenting along the 100-foot.
Okay, hold on.
Zone.
I'm okay.
100-foot zone from coastal bank.
100-foot buffer from coastal bank. Yes, okay.
And then that's to read whatever the pesticide and herbicide condition
Yeah.
is. We can, or to reflect, and then maybe add the number of the condition. Reflect condition number.
Whatever. Yeah.
Whatever it was.
35.
Yes.
I'm writing it right now.
All right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then how frequently,
buffer.
commissioners, how many feet every 50, 25, 20?
Gosh.
50.
Honestly, I mean, it's very clear here. Like if you,
I just think if you just say you would like it monumented and let them
Yeah.
figure it out.
yeah, it's maybe only a couple that they need, right? And then, but I think we just need to be clear that it's 100 foot from coastal bank is the
Main thing,
restricted area that we're talking
Okay.
about. Okay. Thanks.
All right. Any other conditions requested for 146 Bridge? If not, I'm going to move we accept conditions as read.
Second.
All in favor. David.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Olga.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
And Vice Chair is aye as well. That's unanimous. And we must have closed 373 Summer.
Yes, we did. And it's like the same. I didn't have a lot of special conditions. They have mitigation plantings, which I also did the survivorship.
Yeah, this was the one with the twofold 200% mitigation, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what they mean by more DEP.
Yeah, I think it's more.
Anything you guys would like to add?
No, I mean, it seemed pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's how I feel.
All right, let's move to accept conditions as read for 373 Summer Street, 0390944.
Second,
Thank you, Olga. David,
Aye.
Gordon,
aye.
Olga,
hi.
Jim,
All right.
and Vice Chair's an aye. Unanimous.
Yeah.
Could I ask you a question, being new
Mhm.
to the committee? When we ban pesticides, herbicides, and whatever within the 100-foot barrier, would that include like a tick application? That's everything?
Well, tick application would be a pesticide. What do you mean that's everything, Jim?
Are
there any exceptions,
Meaning that
like-
you're banning everything. There's no exceptions to uh, to the
Have we said something about organic fertilizers or something? I think there was wording to that nature at one point.
Sometimes there is a condition that says only use of organic fertilizers.
Mhm.
We
And you
haven't
can't-
really ever dealt with somebody deciding to do a tick application,
Hmm.
which is an interesting thing. We might want to consider doing something, just saying that they would need to come before us if they wanted to do some specialized application.
Right.
Okay.
Or we
I don't
should
know.
specify when we say herbicide and pesticides, including tick application.
Or excluding organic applications.
Mhm.
More positive way to approach it.
Have just order some goats to eat all the bad things off your property. You're reset.
Well, it could become a Board of Health issue, just.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Let's think about the wording, Jim, that we want, what we want to accomplish. Maybe. I don't think we have to do it for this case tonight, but let's think in
Right.
a broad sense for our general conditions.
yeah.
I think it's a good idea because they're becoming more popular and there are more do-it-yourself kits and all sorts of
And for
treatments.
mosquitoes too. Yeah.
All right, let's move to Atwater Ave 0390942.
Well, all the basic stuff like in the beginning of like the project and the number. And then the general conditions are pretty basic.
Right,
Special
I know.
conditions, I wrote something different. I wrote about the width of the roadway shall not be expanded from its current footprint.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good. And then I know we need the removal of
Bethany, I'm sorry, I just okay, the width of the roadway. Does that allow for an expansion due to the sidewalk?
sidewalk.
What I meant.
I believe at the site walk we asked about this and there was like maybe a little widening that might be needed, but but it was like the sub,
Shall not be expanded from its proposed footprint.
okay. Well, we might just want to check with Steve on this. I'm just, or Nate.
Then Nate leave.
But from the proposed footprint, I mean, we've approved the footprint as it is, right?
Yeah.
So that would
Yeah,
make
that's
sense. Yeah,
that might be redundant. I'm not sure.
yeah. Yeah, okay. That seems okay.
All right, we need that removal of the prior year's sand and silt
Mhm.
from, how did we describe that area?
Honestly, from anywhere they find it, but
Yeah.
removal of
From
existing
any
roadway
adjacent
treatment
area.
and sand or
Yeah, roadway treatment sediments.
sediments. Yeah, that's
Silt
right.
sediments.
Yeah.
I can't type when people watching.
Nobody's watching, Bethany.
No, don't watch me. Um,
And removal and proper disposal of, maybe, Bethany.
Mhm.
okay, yeah,
Has
yeah.
to
Shall
go
be removed
somewhere
from site and
else,
disposed of
off
properly.
site.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's gonna be part of the berm.
that's right.
All right, that's awesome. Other specifics for Atwater?
This project does include the relining of in addition to the roadway, right? It includes the relining of the culvert.
Yes.
Is that correct? And they've proposed, narrowing the waterways and all that to do that work. Are there any special conditions or anything that are appropriate there? What they proposed all sounded very careful and
Yeah.
okay.
My feeling is it is thorough. It's
Mhm.
thoroughly done.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Bethany, if you're confident with that, should we send it?
I think so. I think so. I think what we've seen with like the project, it was thoroughly done and we closed it out.
We did. All right, I'm gonna move to accept conditions as stated for 0390942 Atwater Avenue.
Second.
Second. Oh, yeah.
Thank you. All in favor, David,
Aye.
Gordon,
Aye.
Olga,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
and Vice Chair's aye. That passes in a unanimous manner.
Aye.
We did not close 48 Central, oddly. So 42 Lincoln Street in that case. Please, Bethany.
Yes. Pulling it up right now. My thin Wi-Fi can only handle so much at a time.
Very slowly.
We're all fading, so.
Yes.
Another thorough presentation.
Yeah, I think this one was more thorough.
Yeah. I feel like they really
That
covered
group, the
their bases.
CDM Smith, was kind of like, wow. And Steve and I have seen this building plan on the facilities planning committee meetings. So we're kind of well aware of what they're trying to accomplish.
I hope they have good cybersecurity. So when they're mixing those chemicals from their couch, they
Yeah. Agreed.
that's not our purview.
I feel like they took a lot of time and care with this project.
So they only came up with the one and less than a tenth of mitigation multiples, right?
Yeah, the pollinator habitat garden.
So did they request a waiver for that? Am I on the right case?
Yeah, I, the Manchester
Oh.
Conservation Commission approves a waiver for this above project. Notice of
All right,
intent
let's
negative.
just describe in that what it was, Bethany. So described approves waiver as requested for, I think after the word requested. I mean, I'll just say some words, then you guys help me. It's for less than the standard of mitigation plantings, less than the standard ratio of mitigation plantings. Does that sound right? Does that
Or
make sense?
approves an approximate 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, sure. We can say that. Mitigation planting ratio.
Although that may not be true, Henry, because Nate at the end said no problem about doing pollinator garden in the back there.
Right, right. And I want them to do that, but I don't want to wait for a plan to change the
Calculate
ratios.
them.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yes, I think they'll do that.
They'll do it.
Yeah, I think they'll do that, and like with the 21-day timeline, like I need to like mail this out like in a week.
Right. If anything, if we get that information.
I think it's
Yeah.
okay to grant the waiver. I forgot to ask the question during the hearing, but I think you can do mitigation on other properties, right? There's no, like, we could have asked them, would you be willing to do some mitigation?
Yeah, we should have.
Well,
Yes.
but,
I think that's right, Gordon.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think this is okay.
Mitigation on Atwater Avenue.
Oh,
There you
true.
go.
So tax dollars, come on, let's just.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
right. That's true.
Let's keep going. Let's keep moving, guys. Are there any, so can we look at special conditions, Bethany, or
Yeah,
anything you added?
mitigation, covering for storms, anything else?
Do you want to state in the conditions that they're going to reestablish the pollinator habitat that I mean, they've said they're going to do that, but
That's on the plan.
It's on the plan and like their notice of intent that they're going to do that, so it would be covered.
okay.
Yeah, I think certainly the front one is covered.
Okay.
I'm more concerned that they elevate that chemical building so that something doesn't leach out into the water supply. I mean, they say they're going to do that, but that's a bigger concern of mine. The way you guys described prior floods. But they say they're going to do it, and they have every reason to build it.
You know, did they say they were going to elevate it very much?
I guess not. They just said they had a plan. They went up to one step or something like that.
It'll be about 1 foot higher.
1 foot. I mean, I think,
Up to about 17 feet above. I mean,
and I think when you go in there, I've been into the existing chemical building there, and everything's up pretty high in tanks and things like that. It's not like they're just sitting on the ground, but
Okay.
Yeah, and that it's contained. It's not
it's pretty industrial. Yeah, it's not like there's bags of
it's
sodium
not
chloride sitting
the
around.
case that if water got in, it would not touch. It would take 9 feet of water to get to the some of the chemicals, I think.
Yeah.
And all right, tree wise, we're fine, Bethany.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
Ooh.
We want to make sure that the tree warden.
We forgot. I remember talking to you, remember about like the snags, but
Yeah. Well, that's fine. We can add that.
yeah,
But they
but
definitely need tree warden I guess, approval for removal of live trees from the site. The snags are for the dead ones in the back, right?
Yeah. 15, 20, 40. Should be capitalized.
Or any living
Five.
tree.
Sorry.
And then, do we want to just say, if possible, I don't know, the way I'd say it is cut, so that for the rest of the commission, there are several clearly dead trees at the back of the property between the back of the building and the
Yeah.
Essex County Club. And they want to, for safety reasons, they want to take them down, but we want to leave a little bit of stump for
Appearance, yeah.
critters.
Except, again, are they saying they're removing all of this and grubbing it so they can get equipment in there?
That's
Well,
in,
those are
yes,
for the
that's in the
front
front.
trees.
So
These
they
dead
Yeah.
trees are
don't
in the
there,
back.
They have to move equipment around.
Yeah,
So-
we can do that too. Let's finish that sentence though, Bethany, which is if
If
possible,
possible,
cut dead trees to what height do we like for that? 6, 9, 12 feet?
Not too high.
No.
Yeah.
like
6 feet, okay? 6 with
6
everybody?
feet.
Yeah. To provide habitat.
How
Yeah.
about every third tree, you keep it high. You don't want it to look
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, although nobody's gonna see it.
Okay.
Except the critters.
Yeah, it's for the owls, guys.
The golfers.
Oh,
All right, that one looks good.
Anything else?
Henry, your wife is still working. She just sent me a message.
She is, I can hear her.
Oh my God, so late.
And this is, yeah, this is an early night, but don't get me started.
I won't. I'm happy
Um,
she's taking me on.
Yes, that's lovely. I'll tell her you said that. I'm sure we're violating every. I'm not gonna say.
Whatever.
Okay, I can't think of anything else. They're gonna provide like staging and parking locations and all that. Nate's figured all that out. I don't think we have to specify anything because they're very limited on the site.
Yeah.
If anybody have anything more for 42 Lincoln? Then I will move, we accept conditions as stated for 0390946 42 Lincoln Street.
Second.
All in favor, David,
Aye.
Gordon,
Aye.
Olga,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
and vice chair's an aye. It's unanimous. David, if we said we're voting to flood downtown Manchester, would you say aye tonight? You're just going aye?
I moved out of downtown Manchester because of the flooding.
Good point. That was a bad example on my part. I apologize. All right. And 11 Magnolia, we continued.
Minutes.
And 9 Proctor, we are not doing anything with. So,
We
great.
only have minutes.
Awesome. Do we have comments on changes to the minutes for 12/2/2025?
I did read it and I didn't see anything.
I didn't read it and I didn't see any. If Olga looked at it and you've looked at it, Bethany, it's likely excellent.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes as written.
Thank you, David. I second that. All in favor, Gordon,
Aye.
David, aye. Olga, aye. Jim, aye.
Aye.
And Vice Chair is aye. All righty. What is, Bethany, clarification to amend OOC 58 Masconomo?
Let me pull it up. Hold on. I know it's late. I get so confused with all these like different projects, especially working for two towns, and the same people do the projects. I'm like, what am I reading?
That's understandable.
Yeah. So this is from like DeRosa. I think they're like working on this project at 58 Masconomo Street, and there's an already approved order of conditions for invasive removal and native plantings, and the work has started, and they're wondering, and the property has been sold to new owners, so there's new owners for this property, and the new owners would like to install a broken blue stepping stones within the no build, no disturb zones.
Patio
And
and
they're
stepping
wondering
stones. Yeah.
if they should do an amended order of conditions or they should file a new notice of intent and new mitigation plan. So I'm wondering what your advice or what you guys would steer towards.
Why not
'Cause I
do
didn't
it-
know how to answer them.
I mean, if we spent a lot of time with that project. So I think we should just do an amendment because all they're doing are those stepping stones. Or
No,
are
it
they
says,
doing-
No,
Olga,
it's
it says
patio.
patio and stepping stones.
Then yes.
I think yes. I think
Yes.
NOI.
Yep.
And yeah, okay.
Does anybody think differently from Olga and myself? Oh,
Would
that's
agree.
an easy one.
And then
Bethany.
I told them that they should do a new notice of intent, but they want to just have one order of conditions for this project.
Well, it's going to be two
Gonna be two.
distinct NOIs, and I think that means there are two distinct OOCs, aren't they?
Okay. I'll let them know that that's what you advised me.
That's what we're advising.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
So shall I
That's it.
move to
It's
adjourn?
Olga's.
Please
It is
do.
your thing, Olga.
I move to adjourn.
Seconded.
I'm going to assume that's getting
Yeah.
eyes all around.
Eyes all around.
Good
Thanks,
job,
everybody. I'm glad we
everyone. That
got
was
through
a lot.
things smoothly.
Well done,
Yes.
Henry. Thank you.
Good job.
Going to dinner.
All right, guys.
Good job, Henry.
Thanks. Have a good night, okay?
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Bye.
See y'all. Bethany, we'll
Mark,
be in touch.
good night.
Mark, good night, if you can hear us.
Bye.